How's it going, everyone? This is Daniel. In this video, we are going to be talking about Tesla stock, the overall stock market. We're going to go over and look at exactly where it could possibly be Tesla bottom. We've been selling off aggressively. We're going to talk about where it could potentially be the bottom for Tesla stock. We're also going to go over ARK Invest, Cathie Wood open letter to the Fed, what she said, and what could we possibly watch out for this upcoming week. When it comes to inflation data, we're also going to be talking about what are the possibilities of Elon Musk closing out the deal with Twitter this month. So we're going to cover all this important information in this video coming up. As you can see over here, we have Tesla stock. Unfortunately, that is down close to 3%. We're sitting at $216.50. As you can see over here, we're sold off right before 30 minutes before the market closed. We sold off aggressively to the downside. So when you look at overall market, we've seen some sectors doing relatively good, like healthcare stocks did pretty well. On the other hand, we have bank stocks that sold off, big tech companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. We have Meta, Facebook down more than 3%. And we have Tesla stock that is also down 2.9%. So now let's go over what is the good side of this sell-off, right? So when you look at it, it's actually pretty good because Tesla stock has been very extended to the downside when you look at the chart, and it's actually a good news for Tesla investors because we might potentially be closer to the bottom. As you can see, we've been aggressively selling off for the past 11 days where we gapped it down in spite of the delivery numbers that we got, and then continuously just selling off. And it's actually good news because we might actually see the bottom pretty close. So we're going to be talking about a later detailed breakdown of where is the bottom for Tesla stock. But first, let's go over Cathie Wood and ARK Invest. So as you can see from ARK Invest on the website, ARK extends an open letter to the Fed. So a few days ago, we talked about exactly what Cathie Wood had to say on her video that she posted. She went over and talked about exactly the Fed is making a big mistake, on this open letter. In summary, what she mentions is that the Fed is using a lagging indicator. Basically what that is that the Fed is looking at the unemployment rate and also the inflation data that they get to make a decision on their monetary policy. Either they're gonna raise interest rates or slow down on the interest rate hikes. And she's saying that that is a lagging indicator. Instead, the Fed should be looking at commodity prices. And she mentions that the majority of the commodity prices have been aggressively going down. As you can see, you have gold prices, silver, lumber. We have all of these commodity prices just going down aggressively, like copper. And she mentions, okay, energy and food prices are actually being affected by Russia invasion in Ukraine. The majority of Europe gets their energy from Russia, and Russia is cutting off the energy supplies to Europe. Energy prices are skyrocketing, and also we know that Ukraine used to export a lot of food to other parts of the world, and because of the war, they're not actually doing that. So that is mainly the cause of those prices going up for energy and food. That's what she's saying, of course, but we'll see if the Fed actually takes that into consideration, what she has to say. But overall, the Fed is going to be looking at employment and inflation data, and we are going to be getting the inflation data coming up on Thursday for the month of September. So that is going to be really important data to watch out for. So now let's go over and talk about exactly, of course, where could this all come down to for Tesla stock. We're going to be getting inflation data coming up on Thursday, and we might potentially see a big move coming up for the overall stock market. And the overall stock market goes down, we know that Tesla might potentially be going down with it too. So what could be the bottom for Tesla stock? So as you can see, we've been selling up aggressively. We are approaching $200. I think the bottom for Tesla stock, as we talked about on our several videos, is that we might potentially be staying between $215 to $250 for the next few months. And we are getting to the bottom of this range that we talked about. So we might potentially recover after, maybe if we test $200 and then we bounce back up again. That could be the price action that we're expecting. And if we get a very massive big surprise with inflation just not going down and actually going up, we might potentially see Tesla stock breaking down below $200. If it breaks below $200, we have a support around $190, and I don't think that's going to be happening. The bottom, we are approaching the bottom right around over here, at around 205 or 207. So we're getting closer to the bottom, pretty close. So we also have earnings coming up on October 19 too. So that is also going to be a really important day to watch out for Tesla. But of course, in the short term, the main thing that we're watching is inflation data coming up on Thursday. So another important thing, of course, that can significantly change everything is Elon Musk and Twitter. We've been talking about this drama for the past few weeks. So what is the likelihood that Elon Musk is going to be closing out the deal with Twitter for $44 billion this month in October? So experts are saying there's a 60% chance that he could potentially be closing out the deal in the month of October. So that is at least more than 50%. So that is good. And unfortunately, a lot of people are worried, okay, if he's going to be closing out the deal, is he going to be selling Tesla stock to finalize this deal? So if he does sell any kind of Tesla shares, we might see a lot of selling pressure coming in, and we might see Tesla stock even drop even lower if he sells billions of dollars worth of Tesla shares. So that is unfortunately some of the risks that we are looking at right now. So it's kind of hard to predict the bottom, unfortunately, because you never know what Elon Musk is going to be doing with this Twitter deal. We know that the banks are still holding up on their financing deal that they made with him at the beginning of April when he announced that he is going to be buying Twitter. So we have a few partners that pulled out. We talked about them a few videos ago. We have the two partners that pulled out, unfortunately. So other investors might potentially chip in and help out for him to close out the deal. So we'll see how things are going to be unfolding. But let's watch a video breakdown of exactly what are the likelihood of him actually finishing and buying Twitter in October. So after we watch the video, I'm going to come back and we're going to go over what to expect for Tesla and also for the global market for the next 24 hours. So let's check out the video first.
What do you make of this whole 60% chance thing? Especially given nothing's been a sure thing to this point.
Yeah. I was trying to think of something clever about fool me once, whatever. But to me, it feels higher than 60% simply because, both sides are showing up. They want the same deal, right? They want the same price. At least that's what they say. And now a judge has said, okay, you have till the 28th to do this. And a lot of the stuff, getting debt financing in order, for example, getting shareholder approval, that's all done, right? So they say they want the same deal. They say that all the stuff that they need to do to get that done is essentially done. So I feel like it's got to be higher than 60%, Emily. But, what do I know? I feel like we've been talking about this for 6 months and it keeps changing. So.
Right. What do any of us know? Well, Elon Musk knows, or at least he has said, he wants to make Twitter part of this everything app vision. What does that mean to you? How do you interpret that? Does it sound to you like WeChat?
Sounds a lot like WeChat, and it's not necessarily a bad idea because WeChat is incredibly popular in China, and we've seen other companies, mostly Facebook, try to do this as well. Where I think it's an issue is that, as Alex said in kind of the intro you showed, Twitter just doesn't have the scale that's needed for something like this, right? And most of what makes WeChat so valuable, I think, is that it's also the place where people do all of their communication, right? It's not just where you get your Uber or you order your food delivery. It's where you're talking with mom and dad and grandma and your boss and your cousins. And like, Twitter is not that place, right? It is not a place that people are hanging out. And so for me, the idea of suddenly turning into a place where everyone is hanging out and suddenly doing their shopping, it just doesn't really make sense. Again, I like the idea and concept because it clearly works in China. I just don't think that this is going to happen for Twitter. Now, it is ambitious, and if anyone can do it right, you would say, all right, well, maybe Elon Musk is that person. But Mark Zuckerberg's tried it at Meta a few times, and it's not happening there either.
So speaking of scale, how are you thinking about potential staffing changes once Musk presumably takes over the company? Is there going to be a mass exodus? Is there going to be an influx of Elon Musk's fans who want to work for him? Clearly the size that the company is can't necessarily handle, like you said, the scale of a social media platform the size of WeChat.
Well, I can tell you what I know, and then I can speculate a little bit. What I know is that a lot of people inside Twitter are currently worried for their jobs, right? They expect Elon to come in and do layoffs. They expect him to essentially kind of clean the executive ranks Certainly CEO Parag Agrawal, probably the head lawyer Vijay Gotti. And, this is something that happens a lot of times during an acquisition, but I think especially now, because Elon has basically said he doesn't have confidence or faith in those leaders, right? So this is what people are bracing for. Now, what he does next is going to be a good question. Is he going to trim the company down and simply keep it sort of the engineers, bare bones folks who are going to build product? Or if he wants to do this kind of super app thing he's talking about, he's going to need partnerships people. He's going to need probably content people, like moderation people, right? Which is something that he has kind of shied away from. And so that's where I think things get a little tricky is, the financial vision for the company seems to be, let's cut everything back and maybe, get healthy, as he likes to say. But the vision is much more ambitious than that. And I'm not sure that necessarily works with that small of a staff.
So as you can see over here, so Tesla stock is definitely, I believe that we're actually hitting rock bottom. At the bottom, we're getting the bottom pretty close. And Thursday, if we get a solid bounce, if we get a solid economic data, we can definitely bounce back up strong because we're extended to the downside, and eventually we could potentially bounce back pretty strong. So that is what I'm expecting on Thursday. If we get a pretty decent number for inflation gets better, we might see a bounce, and if that does not happen, we might continue to test this area of around $200 to $190. That's going to be the most important price point levels to watch. So for the overall market too, we are just continuously selling off. Unfortunately, everything is going to be dependent upon what kind of inflation that we're going to be getting for the month of September. So if we get a solid number that is better than we're expecting, or if inflation comes in as expected around 8.3%, the market could potentially not react to the downside. So this is going to be the key price point levels that we're watching for the market. We reached the bottom that we are looking at right now. If we sold off aggressively, is around 350. If we sold off aggressively, we can test 350. And if things turn out to be positive, we could actually go back up 360 pretty soon this week. So, but let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the overall price action for Tesla? Is the bottom set yet? What do you think about Cathie Wood open letter to the Fed? Is the Fed going to actually looking into that and maybe change the way that they make decisions on their monetary policies? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on notification bell if you're new. But I catch you guys on another video. Have a wonderful day.